Ẹ mà ǹlẹ́ níbẹ̀ yẹn ò nílé lóko. Ẹ sì kú dédé àsìkò yìí. Hello everyone, it's Adirunke again. I hope your day is going well. Today I'd like to very briefly talk about this word, what it means and what the common misconceptions are about the role of the Aje in the society. And also I'd like to correct the common translation that is often given. So, which is not what it is. It's often translated as which. It's not which. Don't even know what which is, but it's not. Whatever people think which is, it's, well, now, in recent centuries, it's not this. So, is the noun maker in the word. Typically, the way that our nouns are formed, they are noun makers combined with verbs. So, is the noun maker here, and it signifies the one who. The one, or, well, it could be the thing that, it could be the one who, it makes whatever verb comes after it, it makes that combined like this, those verbs become nouns, So, it's the one who, and it's a noun maker. Je is to allow or cause, to cause something to happen, to allow something to happen. Say, ó jẹ́ kó lọ, she or he allowed something or someone to go. Our pronouns are not gender differentiating. So it could be he or she or it. Nobody cares. So in retrospect, I should have made a video on je and the varying meanings that it could have in my homonym series. I haven't done homonyms in a while. Just talk about the many. I've done je, which could be to eat. It could be to win in a context and all that. Je has varying meanings as well. So je could be to allow or cause. And if you decide to go with this meaning of the word, Aje would be the one who allows or the one who causes. So that would be, if you choose to go with je, no, not je. Je is it, and all that. I've done je. I'll probably link it somewhere so you can find it. Je, me, je is to allow or cause, and if you choose to go with that, Aje would be the one who allows or causes. But that's not the only meaning that je could have. It could be allow or let or permit or cause. It could also be something else. It's also still the one who, the one that. Je is become. So, ọmọ rere ni kó jẹ́, or tó bá dàgbà, ìyá àgan ló máa jẹ́. When you grow up, you will become the ìyá àgan. Je is become. So if you choose to align with that, Aje would be the one who becomes. Aje would be the one who becomes. So a synonym of je would be di. Ó di àgbàlagbà. He or she became, or they, well, that would be confusing because you start to think of multiple people. He or she became, ó di alágbára. He or she became a powerful person. Or ó di aláṣẹ. He or she became an authority. It could be this. It could be, if you choose to align yourself with that, it would be the one who becomes. There's also the answer or respond or work meaning of je, me, Je. So aje, domi, aje, I will still be the one who. Then je would be to answer or to respond or to work. Work in, quotes. So let's say you makes, I don't know, maybe you have a stomach ache, let's say, and you take efirin. I don't know what efirin is in English. Efirin and some salt, and you you go you squeeze the herb, you squeeze the liquid, adding small liquid and some salt, you make liquid from the herb. You typically take the leaves and you do this. You rub them against each other until they start to make green liquid, until they become liquid. You take the juice out of them. If you do that and you drink it and your stomach ache goes, you would say oje, or you would say oshishe, it worked. Je is kind of the original, because it's not really doing active work like a human. Oje, it worked, it responded, it answered, it did what I wanted it to do. It yielded to my wish. It became what I wanted it to become. So if you make herbs, let's say, and your client or even on yourself, you don't need to have clients. You make them and they work on you or your relative or whoever. You say, oh, je, it worked. So it could be answer or respond or work. So in that case, aje would be the one who responds. The one who responds. And see, answer, respond, work. And all this being said, when you say the one who responds, that is a metaphorical description of a mother. Maybe I should have there's a video that I wanted to make. I wanted to touch on decolonizing the Yoruba language and thinking about what words mean in and of themselves before we translate them to English. When you say iya, mother, yeye, mother, this in and of themselves, these words are saying something. Our words are so. I don't know what mother is. I don't know what the origin of the word is. I don't know if it's. Well, I'm going to make that video, and I hope I remember to link it to this one when I do. We typically just haphazardly convert Yoruba words to English. Iya is mother, yeye is mother, aje is witch. This, without thinking of what those words mean in and of themselves. Iya is the one who, ya is to be fast. Ya is fast. It could be used in relation to hasting. So iya would be somewhat the one who hastens, somewhat responds quickly. The way that we describe mothers, we typically use swiftness, intense hearing abilities. You call on them from a far distance, or maybe you don't even have to call before they know that you need them. The way that mothers are quite sensitive to babies, who hastens, who responds quickly. That is iya. Aje definitely aligns with that as well. Someone who responds. It has a deep thing about it, obviously. As far as who the women are, see, Nollywood has not helped. Colonization has not helped, because when you think of British influence, the British influence on our culture, and the fact that people like Ajayi Crowther did not help at all. you know, you see why, you see how the misconceptions came to be. you know the witch aunts in England and all that, when they began to explore places surrounding present day Nigeria and present day Nigeria, they came with their culture, their witch aunt. Oh, a set of women are powerful. That's not quite in alignment with the patriarchy. So the propaganda started and all that. And it sort of became to be a powerful woman, somewhat kind of became a thing not to be proud of, a thing to not want to be. It's more the submissive woman, woman who just watches and follows the lead of the man. It's not quite. It's not, our culture is not. It's not patriarchal. Before European colonization, there was an Islamic colonization of sorts. We had with the Malians and all that. I don't even know where to start from, because this topic just weakens me. Yeah, it just weakens me. The wrong depiction of women who possess immense knowledge, immense powers, who know about plants deeply, who know about nature deeply, who know about themselves deeply. And it's not just women. It's not just women. A man can also be an aje, but they would have had to master their feminine side, because it's controlled by women. It's owned by women, so to say. So they would have had to understand their own femininity and the power that lies in it, because we're all masculine and feminine. Although we may, our bodies may be either masculine or feminine, or even not necessarily, not necessarily, because what makes a body feminine? Is it the breasts? Is it the size of them? So even saying that is problematic. But the body aside, the mind, the whatever, this the self aside the body can tap into masculine and feminine energies. So yeah, these were women who, these are, because they're still very much present. These are creators and sustainers and destroyers, and it's very evident even in their oriki. I'm trying to remember one. Okpakeolake, they can kill, but they can also give life too. So creators, sustainers, and destroyers. And they served very high functions in the society, especially back in the day. It wasn't a thing not to be proud of. These were women that men knew not to disregard. They knew better. If you check is it the Tura, or which of the Odus? Actually, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think there's more than one that talks about the power of women and their creative and destructive abilities. So these women, persons can be both kind and ruthless. So there's a changeability aspect to them. They can be changeable, they are delicate, they can be life-giving and life-taking. I don't want this to be a long video. I think the main point of making this video is just to say it's not quite this. It's not quite I think even the witches in England, and which I don't know, it has nothing to do with us, but even them you've encountered wrong portrayals, and the propaganda that was created in England sort of just made its way to us, I suppose. As far as initiation into, some people believe that it comes with age, that when a woman reaches a certain age and she possesses, knowledge up to a level, she automatically becomes an aje. She understands herself and the power that she has, ability to create and destroy, ability to stop and to allow, things from happening. She automatically becomes an aje. Some say, oh, not necessarily. Somebody has to come to you and say, oh, join us or whatever. And some people believe that that if anybody comes to you and says, we are this group of women who know the power that we possess, then it's not real, that it has to be hereditary. And there are different schools of thought. It's a bit sensitive. It's a bit sensitive, especially because of the hurt that has been caused as a result of people equating it with witchcraft and seeing them as, oh, these are destructive people, especially women. These are destructive women who like to eat other people's babies. And you think of books like, and that's why I said even in England there are, or maybe even places beyond England, they're encountering wrongful portrayals as well. When you see books like is it Ansel and Gretel, and oh, the witch that wants to cook and eat children and all that. So it has always been secretive, what they really do, this, and how their powers really work has always been to some degree secretive. When you think of Oshun and the epithet that she has, people call her Amawomaru. She knows how a lot of things work, but she doesn't, you kind of have to come at it with respect to get the knowledge that you're looking for. Is some of their practices are somewhat secretive, and even till now, as far as how their powers work and how they get it and what exactly they do. Even if you're a member, I suppose you're not supposed to just make a video and say, even if you are. Some people see it as a natural thing. Some people see it as a thing that is, that is an actual group, and people who are aje know who they are, know how they network, know how they connect, know how they support one another. Different schools of thought. I suppose that's why I'm beating around the bush. I'm beating around the bush. But they're also shapeshifters. They're shapeshifters. So it's not only the aje that can shapeshift. Apart from the fact that they are depicted, I suppose, as metaphors, they are depicted as birds. They can also become birds. They can shapeshift. That's another thing. I kind of don't want to talk too much. different schools of thought, different beliefs, but that see, when you say witch, the word witch derives from the old English nouns. I don't know how to say this. Maybe Pika or Wicca, which means sorcerer, and Pike. The word as, I don't know if it's, I think the word has Greek origins. You can also look into it in your, because English is not original. That's the problem. I'm going to talk about it in the video that I make on decolonizing the English language, the Yoruba language. I apologize. The word is not original. It's French combined with Greek, combined with Roman, combined with Latin, combined with some Italian and some this and some that. So it's not, when you think of, there are several words, most of the words, they are not original. And so when you take Yoruba meanings, even an English person cannot really, they can say, oh, this is what it has Greek origins, but what it means in ancient Greek in and of itself, they will not be able to tell you because they don't understand any Greek. So it's very problematic when you take Yoruba words and you just say, oh, my what I'm trying to do is just talk about the word itself, not necessarily tell you about the role or how they get their power or how the initiation process works and all of that. It's not really my place. But what I know is that they are creators, they are mothers, they are sustainers. So they would serve as advisors to, they are powerful and they will serve as advisors to powerful people, to kings, to chiefs. Sort of can't really do anything without seeking their advice at some point if you're going to acquire a level of power, especially in the traditional sense and all that. But anyway, don't translate the word as witch. Perhaps I will maybe when I become an Aje. Perhaps at some point, or if I can find somebody who just wants to shed more light about what it really is, aside the one or two things that I've mentioned here and there, I'll probably revisit it. But when you say Aje is witch, no. If you're looking for an English word, you're better off saying mother. Iyami, my mother. What else? What other epithet do they have? I've mentioned their eleye, or you can say eleye in a different dialect. Eleye. Just really, really powerful women who will not allow women or people or men who have to some degree mastered their femininity, who will not allow them to be pushed aside, who will not allow women to not have an opinion. They are the real owners of a lot of powers. Oya, people say that Oya in a human form was in fact an Aje, because she gave Shango a lot of his powers, the ability to emit fire, the ability to, there are just a lot of things that she gave him, and he knew to respect her, I'm just going to leave it at that and I'll revisit it later. If you have any, actually, let me not say if you have any questions. Don't ask me any deep questions, but if you would like any clarification regarding the word itself, I will make the video on the several meanings that je could have. If you have any questions about, perhaps the word and all that, please feel free to ask me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. And I'll see you in the next one.
Ebi ìgbàgbọ́ lájọ́ ń sìn ọ́ sọ́wọ́n lọ́la. Ebi ìmọ̀lẹ́ lájọ́ ń sìn ọ́ sọ́wọ́n lọ́la. Ọ̀básánú sọ́gbà gbòòsì sómọ̀lé. Orí tó fi sọ́ra mọ́mọ́ fi sò lọ. Ẹ wá bá wa sí àwùjọ nìyẹn.